Hey, I'm back. As you can hear, it's raining now, and which is pretty cool. Um, you can probably hear the rain on the roof, and I love that sound. And it's something I've been looking forward to in the van, actually. Um, More so maybe at night, just the sound of rain on the roof of my van. It's really nostalgic for me because it reminds me of when I was a kid and we used to go camping. We had a pop-up camper, and it sounds exactly the same as rain would sound on the top of that. So it always makes me feel like I'm camping, which I am, even though I'm urban camping. But I haven't actually experienced a lot of rain on the roof in the van, even though I've had this van for like 10 years. I mostly do all my camping in the summer, which in the Northwest here does not rain very often. So I've been kind of looking forward to being in the van with the rain, and it last couple of weeks it has rained a lot, and I was like a little bit bummed that I was missing out on it, especially at night. We had some big rains at night. Yeah, it's going pretty hard right now. I didn't know it was going to rain today. I don't think it was in the forecast. I think it's only supposed to rain for maybe the next hour or so, at least the last that I checked. So anyway, I just wanted to tune in for that, I guess. And it's kind of a first, another one of these firsts that keep happening. I'm still in that spot where I last recorded, and yeah, it's now, what is it, 1 o'clock ish or something. I've been here for a few hours. I'm just having a really slow day. I haven't even left the van today yet, and that does feel a little weird, but I'm trying to get some things situated here, having a slow start to get things rolling. I had to get this new battery installed, and I did, and that was the first thing on the list. Now I'm about to get some heat going with my propane heater, just because it's been a little chilly in here, and I'm not quite done in the van yet. So I just want to get that rolling. And I actually called my dad this morning and let him know that I'm now living in the van. I haven't mentioned it to my parents, and I've been planning on it for at least a month. I decided to do it a month ago, and he knew that my hours got rolled back. He knew that, but I didn't tell him that I was going to be moving into the van, and I was like, I don't know, should I not? I wanted to. A couple times I even tried to call, but I didn't get through, and it's just been weighing on me, actually, because it's been a really stressful 5-6 weeks, and it would be good. I just had that weight on my shoulders all the while that I was like stressing out about leaving my apartment and moving out, and other stresses that were happening. It would have been good just for them to know what was going on with me. And I felt like I was hiding something really significant about my life. So I felt like I wasn't like letting them be a part of my life in some kind of way. And maybe that's how it felt anyway. whether that's how I should feel, that's just how I felt. So, so I don't know. I finally kind of got up the nerve, and the time was right. It's still um, early in my van dwelling. It was just like, you know, first, second day, whatever. So I called him up, talked to him for a little bit, let him know. He hasn't told my mom yet, which is, I don't think she's going to be too excited about it. That's part of why I didn't want to let them know, because I just didn't want, I felt like I couldn't really afford the additional stress of that. I don't know how that conversation's going to go. I didn't know how it's going to go with my dad either. And I didn't want him to try to talk me out of it either. I just didn't want to have that stress of that, like, on top of what I was already dealing with. And I can be swayed into things sometimes, kind of against, you know, what's really best for me. That I'm easily influenced a lot of times. So I just, and I was even doubting myself throughout a lot of it too. And I was afraid if I talked to him that I might not go through with it. But I don't know. There's a whole lot there behind that, It's kind of heavy stuff. Because questions of, like, did they even need to know what I was arranging for myself, what I was planning on? Was I doing the right thing by withholding that information? I don't know, but I'm glad that I got that off my chest. It went pretty good. Of course, he's inevitably going to give me some fatherly advice about my situation, and I'll definitely take that into consideration. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy call to make, and yeah. So I don't know. I guess he's gonna break the news to my mom today or tonight or something at some point. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not feeling super great about that. But I mean, on the other hand of it too, I'm 52 years old. They're up there in their 70s. None of us are kids anymore. So I don't know. It's just, person's got to live their own life. I have to live my own life, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm like being sort of defiant or screw the man or whatever. But I really didn't have a choice, is what a lot of this boils down to. I wasn't going to present it in a way. I was afraid that if I hadn't made the move yet, that my dad might feel compelled to try to help me out somehow to prevent me from making the decision. And I don't know whether or not, I don't know what his financial situation is necessarily. So I don't know. It could have gone. I didn't want to bring it up to him in the sense of presenting it in a way of like asking for help or asking for money. And even if I didn't ask for money, I didn't want him to assume that that's what I was doing, or at the very least feel obligated as as a father may, to help out. Like, he might feel like it's his job to have to do something I'm not even asking for. So I just didn't want that sort of weird sort of miscommunication happening, even though it didn't really when I called this morning. And he even did say, one of the things that he said was, I can't really help you out. Something, did mention something like, if you, get in a real pinch or something, I'll see what I can do or whatever. But, it didn't sound like he had a whole lot of resources to really help me out in, my current situation anyway. So that was the only possible out for me, as far as like, one of the only options for me as far as like staying in the apartment. If I was going to stay in the apartment, I couldn't pay rent myself for another month. And I could have probably worked something out with my management, which I've worked on things with, paying rent late before with them, but usually it's only like a couple weeks if it happens like that. I've never done anything more than that. And this would have to be that. This would have had to be until I found another job, like a full-time job, something that was going to be able to, that I was going to be able to afford to keep paying rent. And who knows how long that could have taken. I could have gotten something right away, but it could have been, these things can take a while sometimes. It can be a month or 2 or 3 months down the road. And I didn't want to be sitting there 3 months down the line on the hook for, whatever was going to be, $4,000, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to take on that kind of debt. It just pushing me further into the hole. And then I would have to also, make more compromises in taking work. I didn't want to feel obligated to have to sell out to something that I didn't really want. Some people, this isn't a big deal about. They'll just take anything, and I've been like that in the past, and I don't really want to have to be that way. So this gives me an opportunity to be a little bit more selective about whatever work I take on. So yeah, there were some uncomfortable things to have to discuss, to have to mention, that I just didn't really want to have. I didn't want to have that conversation with my dad. I think a lot of it is having to sort of play the son or play somebody in a more of a submissive role, or I don't know. It's just something to my ego, that just does something to my ego to feel like I'm not my own man, or I'm not in any form. To have to do that is a little bit cringy to me, I guess. He's an older, obviously more experienced, and wiser than me in a lot of areas, especially as it comes to financial matters and being practical about things. Absolutely, he is more of an authority on that than me. So, I guess I just have to be humble and consider, his point of view as somebody that's older, has more life experience. But I guess, you never stop being a parent, as they say. I don't know, I'm not one, but that sounds right to me. And I guess you never really stop being a son either. But sometimes it just feels a little weird. Like, I don't know. There's a whole complex of psychological, mental, philosophical issues that I've surrounding parent-child relationships and aging and growing up and things like that. But anyway, that's all, little rabbit hole. Rain stopped. That was longer than I was going to go, but I did want to mention that phone call because that seemed important. I guess kind of too, like the certain downsides to the reality of where I'm at were sort of coming up, like, and I just kind of don't want to like slow my roll. I don't know. These are things I have to think about, but I don't know. I was in such a good mood this morning. But just take it all in stride, I guess. That's kind of part of the reality of like my situation is, who do you let know? Who do you tell? And I haven't told very many people, and I've tried not to. I've like waited till almost like the last possible minute to tell certain people, about what my plan was, and till it kind of came to a point where like I needed their help to help me move out, and stuff like that. So I kind of, if I wanted people to help me, I felt, compelled to kind of tell them what my plan was. So a select few people in my life know about it, friends, close friends, and now my dad and probably my mom soon too. So anyway, I don't know. I just still feel like I don't want to tell people for a variety of reasons. One of them being that it's this kind of weird, like I'm almost afraid. It's like this almost too good to be truth thing, and I don't want to like jinx anything, which is weird. Like I kind of, because it's something that I really want for myself. I don't want to go around blabbing it to everybody, like, and then have something about it, like, I don't know, not work out. Or I don't know I don't know. It's just a paranoia, maybe. And also I just don't want people to be judgmental either. That's what I was afraid of with my dad, with my parents. Not so much my dad, but a little bit. I just don't want the judgment. I don't want to feel any negative judgment on top of any that I might already be feeling, because there is some where I do feel a little bit shamefulness. Like I was feeling that a little bit yesterday when I said I was feeling overburdened with all of the shit that I had in here, and I was feeling like a low form of human for a minute. And there's definitely been times when I've gone through feeling this sort of shame about it, which is, I don't know, that's really deeply built in there somehow. It's deeply programmed in from just everything, family, culture, society. It's just not something that is like, even now in 2024, it's still, I think, even though it's being more accepted, and there was that movie that came out, and like it's much more forward in the culture. It's more like, it's more known in the mainstream, and probably more accepted in some way. It's still a non-traditional lifestyle, and even though it's been kind of out there now for, I don't know, a handful of years, maybe 4 years, where it's been more and more, increasingly more of an acceptable thing for people to do. I think it takes a long time for change to happen, especially when you're somebody that's like, my age or older, where you had that programming really deeply kind of driven into you at a younger age, at a more impressionable age. And it takes a lot of reprogramming to kind of rewrite that way of thinking, change that way of thinking, that mindset. And so even though for me, somebody that I would consider more enlightened, and I watch van life videos on YouTube like a lot, and it's like one of my most my biggest forms of entertainment, really. And as far as the type of media that I consume, YouTube videos about van life is like, that's tops. And it's something I've had designs on for a long time, something that I've wanted to do. But even with all of that said, I still get that sort of shamefulness that kind of comes into it. I'm sure I'll experience it again. There's, situations where that could come up, that'll probably, I've gone through it. I've felt it a couple times already today, in various situations. Like, I feel weird about just sitting here in this van, all day long so far. Like, I don't know. I feel a little weird about that. It feels not normal. Like, I should be getting on with my day, and I'm getting there. But anyway, those are just some thoughts that I was having as the rain started to fall. More thoughts. I'm sure I'm going to have a lot more thoughts, a lot more things to say. Hopefully that'll kind of wind down a little bit as I ease into it. But there's a lot of firsts, a lot of new things, a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things on my mind that I feel like when it strikes me that I want to share some of these ideas, then I jump on a video. So anyway, I hope you're enjoying your day, and until next time, blessings be.